All right, Mr. D. Weeds that we must get rid of.
Weeds that we must get rid of. You know, when I saw that topic, I just kind of leaned back and I thought, okay, I can think of a few weeds that we need to get rid of. And I came up with 4 or 5 that kind of came to mind pretty quick.
Oh, I'm sure, real quick.
And then I thought, you know, maybe I need to do a little checking. I started doing a little research.
All right.
And I found a couple of lists.
So they're
out there on the internet that I thought would be worth talking about.
Okay.
One, Mother Earth News did a survey of about 2,000 gardeners in United States and Canada.
Okay.
So maybe a little bit further north than us. And I have what they came up with the 10 worst weeds.
All right, let's hear those. Yeah, I got
and
those.
let me go through those, and I'll tell you, in this list, the #1 weed I had mentioned didn't even make the list, and I'll tell you what that is.
Okay, yeah. Okay. All right, I'm curious to hear that. Okay.
But the number one weed that number one by far, according to Mother Earth News or their survey, crabgrass.
Crabgrass.
Crabgrass was the #1 weed that you needed to get rid of.
Okay.
Number 2 was dandelion.
Oh.
Number 3 was Bermudagrass.
Okay.
Number 4 was bindweed.
All right, I can see that.
Number 5 was chickweed.
Okay.
And then ground ivy, Canada thistle, which is a real problem in cattle pasture. Burdock.
Okay.
Quackgrass. And Johnson grass.
Wow.
So those are according to Mother Earth News. Now, then I went to Southern Living. I decided this is probably a little north, so let's go to Southern Living and see what they say.
So a little variation in that?
I got a much different list, and they included some of the hardwood pests that are out there.
All right.
And but they got to the weed that I had pretty much at the top of my list. Okay. And I'll tell you.
All right, let's get to it. All right.
According to Southern Living, Wisteria, either Japanese or Chinese Wisteria, is one of the worst weed problems out there, or worst plant problem.
Okay.
They consider hardwood plant growing out of place as a weed.
Okay.
Chinese privet was number 2.
Yes, yes.
Kudzu was number 3.
I would have thought those two.
Water hyacinth was a problem. Yeah. Field bindweed. So I guess that's the first one that connected with Mother Earth.
Right.
And then they got to the one that I had pretty much at the top of my list, nutsedge.
Nutsedge. See, that's what I would have thought.
Yeah, that's the first thing that crossed my mind, nutsedge.
I'm with you.
And then what they did is they included almost all of the weeds, most of the weeds that Mother Earth had. They said grass.
Grass. Okay.
And they said crabgrass, Bermudagrass, bluegrass, goosegrass, Dallas grass. All of those are problems. So they just said grass.
All right.
And then the chameleon plant.
Yeah. Okay.
It's really pretty, but really invasive.
Very invasive.
Cudweed.
Okay.
And common violet.
Cudweed. Violets, I can see. Yeah.
And now, because of a program we had done earlier, we've got to add the mulberry weed.
We got to add mulberry weed. That's right.
But those, according to a lot of people, are the weeds we need to get rid of. I had nutsedge, goosegrass, Bermudagrass, pigweed, morning glory, dollarweed. You know, those are some things that I kind of came up with. Okay.
And why do we need to get rid of some of those, though? You think it's because they produce a lot of seeds? Or what? They bother me. You know, they get in under my blueberries and my blackberries, and they do produce a lot of seed. Pigweed, I mentioned, that's probably not a real problem for most homeowners, but it's probably the #1 weed problem that farmers face because one plant can produce up to 1.3 million seed. And really? 1.3 million seeds?
Yeah. The seed aren't as viable. They don't last that long in the environment. They only last about 4 or 5 years, but who cares if you have 1.3 million per plant? You know,
that's a lot.
It's still very, very, and it's also resistant to a lot of the herbicides that are out there. And so that's you know.
Crabgrass, I get that too. You know.
Nutsedge. You know, not a lot of products will kill it. You know, Mazaquin is about the only thing that'll take it out, and of course, and agriculturally, you can take it out with several different products.
Okay.
But nutsedge is tough, so that's why I would have thought it was number one, because you know it's diverse.
Of course, if you're turkey, if you like turkeys, it's what's it called in turkeys? It's chufas.
Yeah,
it's just nutsedge. They plant it. Turkeys love to scratch it up, and they'll dig the roots up and eat them.
So what? Drought conditions, nutsedge can grow. Wet conditions, nutsedge will grow.
That's right. It can grow through plastic.
Yes, go through
you
plastic.
Put down plastic, and you know, it's just tough.
But you know, one that's not on there that I thought would have been Poa Annua, because it produces a lot of seeds, and a lot of these weeds too tell you something about your soil. Yep. You know, about the fertility. Right. You know, whether that ground is compact or not. Like, you know, crabgrass. Yep. It likes to grow in compact soils.
Some of the other sedges, brome sedge, and you know, henbit, and you know.
Chickweed,
Of course, well, chickweed made it.
Chickweed made it on there.
It made it on.
But you know, the thing about chickweed and some of these other weeds too, they're edible now. Dandelion.
Well, kudzu.
Kudzu.
Everything.
Right.
Kudzu. In this discussion about kudzu, he said, deep fried kudzu leaves are great. Now, I've never had a deep fried kudzu leaf, but the entire kudzu plant is edible. And if you have cattle or goats, they will kill it. They will eat it to the ground. They will not let it. They will not let it. You know, during this time of the year, late summer, if you mow or cut kudzu right now while it's storing up energy to get through the winter, you'll kill it.
You kill it.
You
okay.
know, and that's what goats and cows do, and they eat it all year. It's a legume, high in protein.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a.
In a garden setting too, you need to make sure people read and follow the label though, because there's going to be a. You know, on the label is going to tell you everything you need to know, right? And you know that the label is the law.
Follow. If you're using pesticides, you know we haven't mentioned a lot about using pesticides with these things, but yeah, that label. It's really very, very interesting. The label is very interesting. It tells you the toxicity of the product, the LD50. It tells you, you know, what weeds it'll kill or what insects it'll kill, and what you know.
And what you need to
and it'll even have a range. Some of them it'll have like it'll do a little good, you know, as a percent effectiveness and all that. You know, some of them are you know partial, and but it tells you to clean up and you know how to dress appropriately.
It's
and
good,
all that good stuff.
Label. Real good, important stuff. But there's your list of weeds that you got to get rid of. Got to get rid of. Yeah, nutsedge wasn't number one. I'm shocked. I'm with you on that.
It was on mine.
Yeah, I'm shocked. All right. Thank you, Mr. D. Appreciate that. That's good stuff. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. To find out more information on this topic, just click on the familyplotgarden.com link in the description.